and welcome to my channel. My name is Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk, and this week we are in week 2 of August 2025 coffee and card, and we're doing a little fun fold today. So it's a little tent fold. It's not really an easel card, but it's that sort of design. Okay, and out of your pack of designer series paper you're going to need these two. So that's the one for the smaller piece at the bottom, and then this is for the bigger piece in the middle. Okay, so and then the rest of the things you have are in here. So this little sentiment is on the smallest rectangle from Textured Notes. This is cut from a rectangle on Textured Notes as well, but today I'm actually going to just cut it as a rectangle rather than using the die. You'll have 3 of these. These are the pressed flower motifs. I will say they're very heavy, and they are obviously solid metal, whatever metal they are, but they do weigh a lot. So if you've got a few on your card, I suggest you weigh your card before you post it, but you've got 2 little ones and a big one each in your pack. And then now, confession, I've forgotten to put this piece in your cat pack. It is just a piece of basic white, and it's 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So unfortunately you are going to have to dip into your stash to find it, and as you can see from my glue marks, I put it on the wrong side first time, so do check. So apologies about that. And then you've got 2 pieces of cloud cover, one of the new in colours. So the piece, my piece is slightly smaller than the one you've got, because I've left you enough so that if you don't want to use that little piece as a sentiment, you've more that you can use a sentiment. And I've, to differentiate between this piece and this piece, I've cut the corner off. Okay, so that's for your flower and all your sentiment, and your sentiment if you want. This is for your backing, which is, again, I have this written down. So secrecy cloud cover is 8.8 by 12.7. okay, so that's 8.8 by 12.7, and that's because it fits that rectangle, but I'll show you how to do it if you don't have those dies. And then we've got, I think, yes, 17 by 10.5 scored at 8.5, so scored in half, and that's your card base that you're going to build your card onto. An envelope. And then you need 2 pieces of designer series paper. So these are the 2. So that is for your smaller piece on the front, so it's got that on the back. And then this is for your larger piece, which is, I've used that side for this. Okay, and as I say, I'm just going to cut it. I'm not going to die cut. Right, so let's get started. So on your smaller piece and your triangle piece of the cloud cover, you need to stamp the big flower. So I've already stamped and die cut mine. Stamped, die cut and lost. And I've stamped in Secret C on this one, but you can do it in, it will work in basic grey, and it will also work in Memento black. Okay, so possibly even Night of Navy, to be absolutely honest. So you just need to stamp and die cut that, so you know how to do that. So I've done that already. Right, okay, so let's get my measurements for these 2 pieces. Put those over there, trim her out. Too much stuff in the drawer below, it's not opening. Right, so first of all with this one, and I sort of think it's going that way up. Could go either, to be honest. These are going in either direction, but I think they look, I think this is, but you see those flowers look nice going up and down as well, so who knows. To be honest, you're not seeing much of it, so I think even if you're not quite what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't matter which direction it goes, I think we can safely say. So card number 2. So the patterned one is 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So I'm actually going to cut it this way at 8, and then that way at 10. So that's height and width. So I've ended up with this vertical and the flowers sideways. Who knows? Right, and then for this piece, it is 8.1 centimetre by 12. So it's 12 high, so that's 8.1 centimetre wide. And 12 centimetres high. Now, because I die cut it before with the one that is that size, 8 centimetre wide by 12 centimetres high, I didn't do right down to the bottom where the dark bit is, and I think I will cut off the darkest pieces. So look again, 12 centimetres. So we will go up to 12 centimetres. So we've got mostly pale at the top there. Okay, and then it really is just a case of stamping my sentiment, which I shall do now. And Secret C is packed into a class, so I am going to use my Memento Black, I think. See, because I have loads of these. And I'm just going to stamp. Again, this stamp is from the Textured Notes, which was last month's coffee and card. But any little sentiment you've got that you want to use, feel free. So this is merely a suggestion. It is an issue sometimes when I do it's a bit low, but never mind. You'll be able to position it better than I am because you won't have a light in the way. When I do stamp sets without sentiments in, you do need to have to go hunting through your stash for some sentiments that will work. Right, so now I'm just going to glue all that together. So let's start here. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. I think I can safely say that's my least favourite of the colours of the papers that we've got this time. So I'm going to put that on there. And then I'm going to add my flower. Shall I? No, I'll do my design. I'll do the base first. So I'm going to pop this on here. There we go. So who's thinking about Christmas yet? We are, because the Christmas catalogue's coming out very soon. Beginning of September it goes live. So looking forward to that when we can start doing all our Christmas prep. Right, so I've just lined that up in the middle of here so I can see where I'm going to be popping my glue, because I don't want any glue protruding along above the top of the card. So I'm putting a swirl of glue there. And then this is the bottom. I'm just going to put a swirl of glue there, and it doesn't, as long as you don't go too far up, it doesn't matter. And then I am going to put this on here. And this way you are not going to end up, I'm going to put it a bit higher actually, with any glue showing. And you just want to make sure that it's not taller than 15 centimeters, because if you make it taller than 15 centimeters, it's not going to fit in an envelope. So I just measured that up against my scale here. Don't know if you can see, I've got 15 centimeters here, so it's just short of that. Okay, just let me put this back, because you've got plenty of room in your envelope there. Right, so, and then I'm going to pop this on the correct side. As I say, I'm sure you've got a piece of 8 by 10 card somewhere in the old stash. And that's just going to go at the bottom there so that you can write your card. Just, where's my bone folder? Couldn't find, it's a Teflon folder I use rather than a bone. So if you don't mind bone, the Stampin' Up one is actually cow bone. If you prefer, don't use the plastic ones because they're just too light. They're just not good enough. So I prefer the Teflon ones. And much as I have got a Stampin' Up bone folder somewhere, they do stain with them being a natural product, whereas these are an artificial product, so they don't. Right. I had some mini dimensionals a minute ago. They always disappear when you really need them. So I'll cut myself some minis from the edges there. One on that leaf there. I mean, it is card, so it's not like you've cut it out of designer series paper, so it will maintain itself to an extent, but I'd like to give it a little bit extra. There we go. Right. Then we're just going to position this, add our gems and our sentiment, and we're done. Gems, they're not gems, are they? Well, I suppose they are gems. They're press flower motifs. Two. Right. Okay. And I'm just going to pop that sort of off to one side a bit. There. There we go. And then this I just actually glued flat. And then we just need to add our motifs and we're done. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Kept it nice and simple. It's bizarre how different they look, even though I'm just wondering if I think it's just dried differently. Answers on a postcard or in the comments below, please, why that one looks different. I don't know if I've maybe brushed another colour on. Can't think why. So, but this one definitely looks brighter, doesn't it? Interesting. Right, and then I'm just going to add my 3 little dots. So let's put one on there. And then a couple around the flower. And then we're done. So I hope you like that. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Many thanks. Bye.